will not make us cower. We're here to tell you that the spells are cast. You will not last the night.
You are the fools who will now feel my wrath.
Dragon can fall. We'll slay you with our mighty sword. Dragon can fall. Your heart will soon be ours. Dragon can fall. You are the beast we're training for.
We are the party who now will fight back.
Quick, grab the magic bow. I'll distract him. You'll never defeat me, dragon.
Prepare to meet your doom.
Dragon can fall. We slay him with our mighty swords. Dragon can fall. His heart will now be ours. Dragon can fall. He was the beast we're training for.
We are the party who claim victory.
some casters. Time to roll, have a good time, but don't burn down the tavern. Let's burn down the tavern. Time for total party chill. There's a critical hit, critical fail. Hold your head, see that dragon, we can slay it. We'll From the depths of the dungeons to the tavern brawls, save the king, killed a giant. We've been through it all. I could fill up a tome, but you're not coming home. Well, we all saw it happen. We're the ones you saved. Gonna light you a candle, gonna tell your tale by the light of the moon. We'll remember you, dying a hero. Tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. On that fateful day, the evil wizard came. Now everybody in this realm is singing out your name. Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? Our adventures together went to hell and back. Spent the day slaying dragons and escaping traps, but massive damage is done. Now you're really gone. But we'll remember you, dying a hero. Tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. On that fateful day, the evil wizard came. Now everybody in this realm is singing out your name. Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? We'll remember you, dying a hero. Tried to help you with that diamond, but it wouldn't save your soul. And on that fateful day, the evil wizard came. Now everybody in this realm is singing out your name. Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? Can you hear us sitting out there in the astral plane? We've come on down to the tavern for trouble and for fun, and to talk about the old prophecy. And we all sing songs at the tavern of the fights that we have won, and we dream about our next victory. Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain. But before we go, let's drink one more ale. Well, we won't burn down the tavern like the times we did before. It was not our fault, we swear honestly. But we'll do our dance at the tavern Come away, adventure calls today, and tomorrow we'll tell of our tale. Come away, we'll see that dragon slain. But before we go, let's dream. But before we go, let's dream. But before we go, let's dream. One more ale. 1,000 years you've been reigning terror, stoking our fears from deep in your lair. We're here to tell you that your time has come. This is our kingdom today.
Who are the fools who would dare threaten me?
Dragon can fall. We'll slay you with our mighty sword. Dragon can fall. Your heart will soon be ours. Dragon can fall. You are the beast we're training for. We are the party who dare threaten you. We have no fear of your ancient power. Your weapon fire will not make us cower. We're here to tell you that the spells are cast. You will not last the night.
You are the fools who will now feel my wrath.
Dragon can fall. We'll slay you with our mighty sword. Dragon can fall. Your heart will soon be ours. Dragon can fall. You are the beast we're training for. We are the party who now will fight back.
Quick, grab the magic bow. All distracted. You'll never defeat me, dragon.
Prepare to meet your doom.
Dragon can fall. We slay him with our mighty swords. Dragon can fall. His heart will now be ours. Dragon can fall. He was the beast we're training for. We are the party who claim victory.
Hello, everyone. Howdy, howdy. Welcome to Office Hours. Good to see y'all. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's go ahead and get things started. Oh, is everyone having a good week? Everyone have fun plans for the holiday? Any fun one shots coming up? Let's see. All right, it's nice and cozy in here right now. This is the last office hours before the new year. Who would have thought? Oh my gosh. The year's already coming to a close. Came out of nowhere. All right, we'll pull this up so I can show you all this new feature. All right. Let's see. Holiday one shot this Friday. Love it. Awesome RPG Mama. Thanks for hosting. Of course, Cyborg Prime. Let's see. Gotta run the Avatar game just for my kids over the holidays. Oh, that's gonna be cool. Long night before Krampus tonight and tomorrow. Love it. I have a gosh, I don't have any one shot. I might make it a holiday one shot. I'm running Shadow Dark this Sunday. I've been running a lot of Shadow Dark. I love Shadow Dark team. Oh my gosh, so much fun. Okay. What should we start with? I'm gonna show you the new feature. should we start with Blades in the Dark, Call of Cthulhu, Cyberpunk Red, D&D, Monster of the Week, or Star Wars RPG by Fantasy Flight Games? Which one should I use as like the demo for this, or should I use for this demo? Blades in the Dark, Call of Cthulhu, Cyberpunk, D&D, Monster of the Week, or Star Wars by Fantasy Flight. Blades, Call of Cthulhu, Star Wars. Okay, no leader yet. Cthulhu. Okay, we got 2 for Cthulhu. Can't help. Love Cultist. Okay, I think that means. Oh, Star Wars. Okay, Star Wars and Call of Cthulhu are now tied. I should have done a poll for this. Okay, I'll bring up Call of Cthulhu. All right, D&D. Let's see. Let me go ahead and make sure I can grab this. All right, we want. That's Discord. Play Call of Cthulhu. Okay. Okay, check this out. All right. Okay, here's the new feature. You guys know what the start playing site looks like. Put it over here. So, we've already talked about these new landing pages, right? Here is the Call of Cthulhu landing page. And here are all the different Call of Cthulhu games. You can cycle through them, or you can just see more adventures. System reviews. So what we notice is a lot of players who are interested in playing games, but they want to know more about the game. And we notice there's a lot of people that we talk to a lot of people like, oh, you know, I like to hear what other people are playing. So we thought of like, okay, well, we thought we're going to take a kind of a page out of Board Game Geek, right? They do reviews of board games and people like to research those. A lot of people also go to places like YouTube, but there's a lot of people who don't watch those videos from our research. And they're like, oh, yeah, I always try to like read reviews and what people are saying. They'll look in forums and stuff like that. So we thought, hey, it would be kind of helpful if people could see reviews by GMs and players who actually run this system. I think a lot of you already probably know about this feature, but let me go into some more details about it. So if you're a dungeon master, a game master, a keeper who runs Call of Cthulhu, you could go and leave a review on this page about what you think of the game, what you think of its mechanics, all that stuff. And once a system has 20 or more reviews, reviews will be shown. So you'll see that'll be visible. And all the reviews are manually approved. So like people have to read them just to make sure no one submits anything that's, like breaking our code of conduct. But you can say like, oh, I love Call of Cthulhu. This is why. This is what makes it great. But then it'll show next to your review, hey, Lisa here reviewing Call of Cthulhu, she has GM'd 30 games of Call of Cthulhu and has played in 15 games based off of what you've done verified on the site. So if you run a lot of Call of Cthulhu, your review will show how much you run Call of Cthulhu of. And that helps people who are coming to the site because they searched out Cthulhu online and they came to this landing page, right? They can then see, oh, this GM runs a lot of Call of Cthulhu. This is cool. Maybe I'll play with them, and they can go and look at your games. So they'll be able to click on your profile, on your review to go and view your profile. We think this will help with GMs who are running more niche systems as well. And when I say niche, I mean, Call of Cthulhu isn't niche, but I mean, like in the grand scheme of things, it can be considered niche, right? I mean, generally, tabletop is niche. But if you're running Monster of the Week and people can come here and they can look at this page and learn more about the game and they can see your reviews as a GM and they can go and click on your review and view your profile and see your games, that's great. That's another avenue for people who are running non-D&D games to get in front of that audience. But then also, if you're running D&D and you can see like, oh, let me see what all these other DMs are saying about this, and maybe I want to start playing with them. So you can do this as of now. Let's see. If you go to the homepage and you scroll down, you'll see all the different game systems. So we have Blades in the Dark, Call of Cthulhu. We're going to be adding more. We'll be adding like a few every week. Months of the Week, Pathfinder, Pathfinder 2e, Starfinder, Star Wars. These are some of those popular game systems on the platform right now, but we're going to be adding more every week based off of what's popular and what we're working with. So we'll probably be adding systems when we if we have a Daggerheart event, we'll add a Daggerheart landing page. But I would suggest if you run any of these games, go and put in your review. I'm going to be approving reviews during the break. The customer team will not be online to be approving reviews. I'll be going through manually doing it because you're going to want to get on this landing page. Let's see. We have some questions. Will that only show paid games run or free games? Oh, Jersey Dragon only show paid games because that's the only thing we can verify. Free games is too easy to farm by just you can just say you ran a free game, right? So there's no way for us to verify it. So it'll only show how many paid games you've run of this. So let's go ahead and let's go to D&D, right? And we're gonna go and leave a review. So I hit leave review. Review Dungeons and Dragons. Has the description. I'm going to review this. I'm going to give it 5 stars. D&D is a beloved classic. Beloved classic tabletop RPG that has evolved over the years. Let's see. I wasn't ready to type an entire thing of years, and has stood the test of time for high fantasy combat-driven games. It's great. 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 And then, yes, I'll recommend start playing to a friend. I hit submit. And then our team is reviewing your submission and will notify you as soon as it's approved or if additional information is needed. So there's an email that will go out to you saying hey, your review's been approved. If I actually go on the back end now and I go find that review, I can go ahead and approve it. And now this review won't show up here yet because we need 20 reviews before any reviews start showing up. That's kind of the minimum because that's what we realized is valuable to players. That's kind of the minimum. We noticed with GM accounts, once you get 20 reviews, it starts to kind of plateau. 30 is a huge plateau, but 20 is kind of the minimum needed. Let's see. We got some more questions. DM Dan, are the free versus paid games? What about games played in? Yes, so if you've played in games, let's say you're a GM and you run games and you play in games. It'll say has run X number of sessions and played in X number of sessions. If you've only played games and you review it as a player, it'll say has played in X sessions. Jacob Anderson. In the future, might there be the same feature but with specific modules like Curse of Strahd or Eve of Ruin? That's a very interesting thing. That you asked. Because you can do it for 2 or 3 modules right now. We have 3 modules that are up. Seasons of the Ghost, Pathfinder, Curse of Strahd, and Lost Mines of Phandelver. So we actually have 3 modules. You can review game systems and modules. We'll be adding more modules over time. We're going to start with all the D&D modules, a bunch of Pathfinder modules, and then we'll get out into a bunch of other things, maybe Cobalt Press, maybe Dungeons of Dragheim, some other ones. Great question, Jacob Anderson. Copernicus question: do you think it would be easier to find this section on systems if it wasn't scrolling all the way down to the homepage? Perhaps a link at the top of the page. Copernicus, that's actually, so I love that question, but I want to tell you how people are actually finding this page. People are finding this page not because they're looking for Start Playing. People are finding this page because they are looking for that game, and they're finding these pages on Google. So this is actually the page that a lot of people are starting at. These pages aren't often navigated from the homepage because people are already looking, they know what games they're looking for. So these pages are actually a discovery mechanism because people out there are Googling play Call of Cthulhu games and then that is leading them to this page. Another thing that you'll notice, let's see if I can find this. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's go to this. So let's say you're looking at back here. You're looking at Call of Cthulhu games. This is for Copernicus. So say you're looking at Call of Cthulhu games, right? You're looking at this one, and you click the Play Call of Cthulhu up here. It'll actually take you to this landing page. So this is the other way people are getting here. I hope that clarifies things. Admiral Adventure. These game companies are paying for this service, right? What do you mean? Pro GM opinions on game systems are a valuable thing. I don't understand the question, Admiral. But none of our partners are paying for these. You know, like Call of Cthulhu isn't paying to have a landing page. DASM MC2. Right now, the default sort on games will be newest, but there is a filter by games played, most recent, highest review, lowest review, the same sort that GMs have on their profiles. But we might, we're probably gonna do some A/B testing once we have reviews on like what sort to start with. DASM MC2. Question, any chance you'll have a VTT review section as well? Bem Dice. Yes, if this does really well, we'll definitely have a review section for virtual tabletops as well. DM Dan says, question. Sorry, Devin, you actually missed the crux of my question. As a seat filler for a DM, would these games count towards that count? Is a seat filler a verified review? It's not. So that would not count. Verified reviews are only verified because there was a charge that person had in the game. A year ago, I looked up Apocalypse Keys and found my own SPG listing. Yes, some stuff like that does still happen, Sweetie. But a lot of times, like some of those pages might be deprecated. You know, like the GM like deletes it, but it was still indexed, and so it'll reroute to this landing page. You guys have some good questions today. Thank you for asking these. So yeah, right now, how to play Call of Cthulhu, reviews, Call of Cthulhu games. We have some like quick details about Call of Cthulhu. Then we have map makers, some FAQs. We'll have a section here about classes and virtual tabletops. That'll be another section that's coming soon. So this will link to Roll20. This will link to Fantasy Grounds, Quest Portal. And then, of course, these classes will open up and have like an expanded thing of these different classes. Let's see. Ben French, question. Is there a way to consolidate the DM and player options for people who are both? The split between them on the site feels clunky. Ben, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean options? Is there a way to consolidate the DM and player options for people who are both? Are you talking about the reviews here? Because it's a single review. So if you're a DM and a player, your review says how many you've run and then how many you've played in. DASM, any plans for players to get reviews? I had some exceptional players. It'd be great to give them a heads up that they're a great player. I don't think anytime soon. I think the first thing we'd see there would probably be accolades that players get. But a lot of the stuff we're going to be focusing on still is going to be around new players and like player growth, because the retention number is already really, really high. And so we're not too concerned about that. That is a great stage 3 product though, to have like accolades or some kind of history of the player. Like seeing all the listed games and playing in verse games I'm running to look at schedules, etc. So you're not actually talking about what we're covering. Okay, sorry, I was confused because I didn't know the content switch didn't get me. I don't think so. We haven't seen a huge issue with GMs that are players, UI issues that they're having. There's probably stuff that maybe is a bit higher priority. There's already a few things that are happening, like your messages are all shared between both, right? But we haven't noticed a huge impossible to do the same things because of it. But not saying that we won't ever, combine certain things, but it doesn't seem that it is blocking a lot of people's ability to get whatever specific job they need done. But that could change in the future for sure. I like seeing all the list of games I'm playing in versus the games I'm running, but there might be like a universal calendar, Ben, where you can see the games you're playing in and the games you're running, all in the same place. That's something that's we're probably going to see pretty soon. We're probably going to see a way for players to subscribe to their calendar pretty soon. That's something that we're likely to see in the coming months. Let's see. Syrian, my best reviews are at the bottom of my visible reviews of my profile. Is there a way to set the default sorting so most sessions played? Syrian, there's actually we're collecting data right now. After we've launched Dungeon DM sort or review sort. Review sort, and we're seeing what players are often sorting the most by, and we'll probably make that the default in an A/B test, and so we're still gathering data on to change that sort, but you can't change the sort on your end. Players can come and they can sort your reviews by that choice, and we might also test lifting up the sort to be higher, but there's going to be a whole redesign of the GM profile, and so that will probably come in around there. Admiral says, you answered it. Question. We are going to absorb a 15% fee via Vice 10. At what point do companies start contributing to SPG effort, which is leading the charge to DM purchase content? What point do game companies start contributing to the SPG effort? So, Admiral, a lot of GMs do. I mean, not a lot of GMs. A lot of game companies do. I think one of the big ones is we saw, Wizard of the Coast. For any of the players or any of the GMs who are participating in their events, our partnership with them, those GMs, I think almost 400 GMs got the new DMG guide for free on D&D Beyond because they participated in that event. So we're seeing a lot of stuff like that where that value is coming from getting access to content. And we're seeing almost every partner who wants to, they're trying to send all of their players to here so that GMs are they know that this is a place to play. There's some companies we're talking about to also leverage starter set because they want to get people into a game. So that could be maybe we could do starter set with Daggerheart, or maybe we can do it with Cosmere as a good ramp up, and them being able to funnel their audience to starter set to get in those games. That's a great question. Let's see. You answered a question. Okay, cool. Katie, there are two different menus where you're playing and running games. Not I can put the older interface where things combined made things easier. Universal calendar would be greatly appreciated. Would it be amazing if I can consolidate player and GM calendars? Yeah, the calendar thing is probably the most likely thing to happen in the soon to near future. Only official modules or homebrew labels. I don't know what that question means, RPG Mom. If you can add some more context, I'd appreciate it. Leave a review for Vampire the Masquerade 5e now, and I'm actually surprised that part of it is how likely you to recommend start playing to a friend. Should it be game system instead? No, because you're reviewing and start playing. We get this information, the NPS score from players all the time, because the NPS score is there when players leave reviews, and so we're leaving it here to grab it from players and GMs. Dreams Gone. As a player, I'd love profile player GM matchmaking. Would love this GM too, but though I assume it makes lots of time to bring. The big thing is we've noticed a lot of companies have gone out and tried to do just that. They try to do we'll matchmake between player and GM. And what we noticed is players provide the wrong information. and GMs provide the wrong information. So what we have to do is we have to do more like a recommendation of like, hey, we think you'll like this game or this GM based off of what people have already played in. But the problem is if we are asking for you to give us information and then match off of that, I haven't seen a company that was doing this in the same space that it was successful with that. And so that's a really tricky problem to solve, Dreams. And I think we're going to have to do it in a more eloquent way than just asking for, answer X and answer Y, and then we'll try to match you with people who match X and Y. Dork Elf. Question: if I'm signed up as a player for a game that is waiting for players, is there an easy way to find that game again? Maybe I'm just missing something. There is. You can actually just go if you're waiting. If you're in a game and you're waiting for players, you can just go here. Click on your little profile. I click on my profile, and you click on My Games. You'll see it here. Oh. You'll see your game right there. That is active. So this is ready to start. It's not active yet. It's ready to start, so it has enough players. But the GM hasn't scheduled it yet. Okay, what else we got? Odd Squirrel, I need landing pages for Candela Obscura and Daggerheart yesterday. I might have missed it, but do we have an ETA on these two specifically? Candela Obscura, I think, is in like the teens. But right now, the team is kind of knocking out 1 to 2 landing pages a week. And so I would probably expect sometime in January to see Candela Obscura and sometime before launch of Daggerheart to see Daggerhearts. Shadowrun and Shadow Dark would be great ones for the portals too. Ooh, naming them portals. Like that. That's fun. BZ to the SPG team. BZ, what does that BZ mean? Big ups, big Z's. Admiral Adventures, yeah. Also the Cosmere people who participate in the Cosmere, people that participate in the Mothership. There's a lot of great events where these partners are really like, because here's the thing, publishers generally don't have a ton of money, right? Because publishing is a hard business. So what publishers do have is they have content and they have an audience. And so a lot of publishers are leveraging their content and their audience to find the community here and start playing, because they also know, like, hey, if we can get people playing with a pro GM, that person is probably going to fall in love with this game. We know that like people are more likely to have fun with a game because they play with a pro GM than it may be just with their friend. Now, I'm not saying playing with your friends isn't fun, but the level of knowledge and quality of play on average is really, really high with professional GMs. And with a casual game, it is a much, that percentage is much different. So publishers do realize the value of SPG and getting their audience to play in games with pro GMs here. Ben, sorry if it's already been covered here. I usually can't make these nor shift through Discord. Could you clarify an expiration of adventures? Does it delete the template or does it need to be reapproved? Ben French, great question. Thank you for asking. An expired adventure means that the template still exists, but the adventure is gone once it's expired. You'll get 7-day warning saying, hey, go ahead and renew this adventure. You'll just go ahead and click the renew button on that adventure, and then it essentially renews it for another 37 days, 35 days, something like that. I have several I've gotten approved, but hadn't had time to run while trying to graduate. BZ is well done in military speak. Oh, love it. I thought you were already calling them portals. They definitely scream portals to me now. I like this. I like the idea of the portals. What SPG cover is there over the holiday season? SPG cover. What do we mean by cover? Are we talking about customer? Are we talking about like what what's the marketing team doing? Are we talking? We have engineering on call. Let's actually just cover it all. DMZ or Dasmic2. Dasmic 2, you're gonna have to help me with your name, but we'll have a skeleton crew. We had a necromancer go ahead and provide us with some skeletons who will be working the support channels only on urgent topics. So if if it isn't urgent, we'll get back to it when we're back in office. which will be after New Year's Day, after New Year's Day. But we have a skeleton crew that'll be handling customer support tickets. Most of our marketing stuff is still going to be running as is. And so myself and another will be kind of just managing all of our performance ads and Google stuff. So none of that will change. It'll be turned off on Christmas because it's the worst day. But then back on the day after. So Christmas Eve and Boxing Day will be back to normal, but Christmas will pause all ads because the spend on them is terrible during on Christmas Day. Spend is really good on New Year's Eve too, oddly enough. Let's see. We'll have an Eng team that will be on call for any bugs or any big problems that kind of break the site. So yeah, I guess that's what I mean by cover. I hope that answers your question. Asking a guy who made a game to pay you to run their game is not a way for a designer to publish. If GMs here haven't joined an event yet, I highly recommend them. I've done a dozen or more, and they're always a great time to get my current players to try new games and bring in new players. Absolutely. Staff, if we need to contact you over issues, Daz is fine. Yeah, Daz, yeah. The customer team, there's a skeleton working it's not a skeleton crew. It's just a single skeleton. Work-life balance is good. Arc, Anij, question, could one-shots auto-renew weekly if no one signs up? X Mondays at noon, renew until filled. So Arc, one of the big problems is if we have things that auto-happen, we have to allow you to decide if you want it to auto-happen. And there might be half people that don't want auto things to happen and half that do want auto things to happen. And auto things happening also cause problems constantly. Like we used to auto activate games were automatically active the moment you had a player in them, and people would be charged. And it was the number one thing that led to negative reviews for GMs. Well, it was tied for number one. So we've kind of stopped a lot of auto things because it can create a lot of, it can extend to other problems. But revisiting one-shots is something I definitely want to do to kind of address some of those problems. I think it's more we talk about the problem and find some other solutions rather than just like auto renewing it. Because right now, if you don't set it to active because you didn't get enough players or you didn't run it, you can just go and reschedule the session to be in the future as well. Oliver Lindpass, hello, just joined. The current combat RP puzzles way of describing games isn't my favorite. Thoughts on using something like player types in the D&D DMG? Maybe in the future. Right now, it doesn't seem like that's a part that is like sticking for players. A lot of our big focus will be, and I'll actually talk about this later, about January and February as far as products and things that we'll be building. Admiral Adventures, SPG is a great funnel lead into the Pro GM world. In the next year, does SPG plan to work with, for example, D3 at Sea, D&D in a Castle to create quality DMs for those events? Admiral Adventures, yeah, actually, I believe D&D in a Castle has already reached out to some of the start playing GMs. They gave us like a list of things that they were looking for, and we kind of looked through our GMs that match those requirements, and we made introductions to those. So we'll probably see more stuff with D&D in a Castle. D3 at Sea, I haven't met those people yet. But I think probably the next time I'm at Gen Con and I meet them, there might be some stuff around that. But there's already some stuff kind of in the works with the D&D and Castle folks. Can something be done to get rid of the off-schedule notices if we want one in the group change their mind, change their time slot? Now you get spam with, well, Daz, you just change your schedule. If you're, right now you want to make sure that people know if a game is off schedule. Like here's the thing, if you have one session that's off schedule, you got to know that. But if all your sessions are off schedule because you changed, you need to change your schedule. Because your game is being, like, let's say your game is scheduled to be Mondays at 7 p.m. But everyone's like, oh, we can actually only do Tuesdays. So now all your sessions say Tuesday at 7 p.m. Your game schedule still advertises Monday at 7 p.m., but your sessions are all Tuesday at 7 p.m. So being off schedule knows that like you're advertising the wrong thing to players, or players should know like, hey, this game is normally at 7 p.m. on Mondays, but these are off schedule sessions that the GM is running. Usually that's fine because like a holiday might be coming up and you guys have shifted one day or another. But if all your sessions are off schedule, then you should change the schedule to match the new session dates. And you can check out the FAQ on how to do that. Okay. Let's see. We talked. I mean, that we kind of strayed a little bit from our landing pages. But if we have no more questions on that, I'll go ahead and keep moving. Ryan Adams' question. I have missed it, but maybe your thoughts for 2025 with the 5% increase to the GM cut. Will there be any new tool to allow? Oh, this actually is on my list to cover today. So I'm going to skip down to that because the question is a great segue. So we did like a little scope project on what it would take to build something like that and some of the things to keep in mind. And then we interviewed some players asking like, hey, like players that have like left games and rejoined at higher rates. And then we asked some people that like haven't. Players did not find that to be a difficult thing to do, to leave and rejoin. We were asking like, hey, is this a hard thing to do? Essentially like seeing like, is this something that players need? And overwhelmingly, players didn't like feel the need, like it was incredibly difficult to do. So then what we did is we looked at like the engineering cost. Unfortunately, we're not going to release that feature that allows you to change the price and then a player accept or deny it, because there's too many problems it creates if it lingers. If a player doesn't accept or doesn't approve, that lingering request could end up causing a game not to fire because that person has not accepted. And so that kind of pending request that needs to be accepted or changed creates a lot of problems. So that's one of the reasons why we didn't decide to actually move forward with this, is because there's a technical problem, but mostly when we talked to players, they said, no, leaving and rejoining is fine. That's not that hard. And then we talked to some of our top GMs about like people who've run like have the highest retention, and most of their players too. It was a very easy thing for them just to leave and rejoin. One of the reasons why we like wanted to like give notice as soon as possible is in case anyone needed to like start up their new campaigns with a higher rate, etc., to be able to prepare for that. But overwhelmingly, we haven't seen a lot of attrition when GMs have done this and players like having to drop out because they can't afford that game. And if so, that tool wouldn't help them either. So that's one of the reasons why we ended up not launching this feature. Daz, running 7 camp. Yeah, that's the thing. And here's the thing. I didn't really think that until I just started talking to players. And it really was one of those things like, no, it's fine. Yeah. And some GMs that just like boot them and say, hey, here's the new campaign link. Go ahead and join here. But yeah, it doesn't seem like it was a big issue for players. And so that's why we didn't want to put any time towards it. And along with like, there are some like technical limitations. Let's see. What else do we have here? The team is out. New loot. Can I see a show of hands of everyone who's gotten GM loot before? This is how you do it. That's how you raise your hand. Show of hands. Or one of these. I want to see who's had GM loot before. Okay, no one. Okay, there we go. We got two new GM loots coming up, which is exciting. This is GM loot is one of those things where a lot of people come to us and say, hey, can we advertise to your GMs, or can we do this, and it's a product and it doesn't really line up with what we do, because selling ads isn't an effective growth strategy for us, right? And so instead we say, okay, well, instead of like what you would have paid us, can you give us just the best like deal possible to give to our GMs? So there's going to be something coming up probably right before Christmas. If you have received all of the GM loots so far, you will get a new GM loot before the end of December. And then there should be one coming up for the end of January. We're still talking to them. And we're also talking to the good folks over at VoiceMod about some GM loot, which is exciting. So we'll keep that keep you in the loop on there. Actually, we'll just drop it. You won't even know. It'll just happen. Just keep your inbox. GM loot is where, like, for example, Legend Keeper will give our GMs 3 months of free access, which is the best trial they have. Describe will give GMs 90 days of access. Tom Kartos will give 1,000 maps for GMs to use. This is just like cool stuff that GMs get just because they're on the platform. Now, how do you get access to GM Loot? You have to run paid games on the site. Every month that you run paid games on the site, you continue to move forward in the GM Loot program. If you take a break, then you kind of just stay where you are. If you come back, you continue on the program. Right now, I think there's like 6 or 8 stages. Something like that. We have GM Loot, we have GM Flute, we have GM Fruit, we have GM Boot, we have all the things. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about what's next year. Next year, I think I told you we spent a lot of time working with what we call D&D Dannies. D&D Dannies is a customer persona that we had focused on this last quarter. D&D Danny, she or he or they are someone who is brand new to gaming. They don't really know how to get started, and they're looking for solutions. And so we've been building some stuff to help with that. That was what Starter Set was. Starter Set will probably have a pause. The program will pause early January. Starter Set will get rebuilt, and then it'll be launched site-wide. What that means when it's launched site-wide is that you'll be able to find Starter Set not from ads. You'll be able to find Starter Set just in the standard experience on Start Playing. The next thing, and we found that this did solve a lot, but it might not be like the biggest growth tool because when we've done surveys, we realized around 30% of our users are Dannies. Now we thought, hey, maybe we weren't having more Dannies use Start Playing because the rest of Start Playing was hard for them. What we realized is like this does convert Dannies at a higher rate, so it'll help the overall conversion. But next is kind of moving into what we call Tabletop Tailor. Tabletop Tailor, they know their games. They know what they're looking for. They've played before. They've watched enough actual plays that they actually understand the rules of the game. Tabletop Tailors are people that know how to play D&D, Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, or they have enough understanding already. They know how they can navigate our tools because they understand the language. They understand one-shots. They understand campaigns. They understand the terminology. And so we're going to be rolling out some tools to help it be easier for them to find games. And that includes a really cool, some new search features. I'm going to show you, I guess I can show you a little secret. Unless you guys don't want to see a secret. Okay, let's see. So this is something that we're probably going to do an A/B test on. So you'll have your filters, but then you'll have category filters. So you'd have things like we're gonna like test probably about 24 things here. And the idea is for brand new users who haven't used the site before, they might not know how powerful our filters are, but they kind of know what they want. So indie games would be everything other than D&D, or like maybe everything other than D&D and Pathfinder. D&D 24 would be like a specific version of D&D. So far, our surveying and our research shows that this probably isn't something that people would be interested in. Beginner friendly would just show you beginner friendly games. Under 20, we'd probably create maybe a few of these, but we noticed that like when people use the price filter, under 20 is the most popular use when they use the price filter. But like some people don't use the price filter at all, right? Another is like top GMs. So this would be where you can select just one of these and it sorts the entire search experience for you without having to go through and do a bunch of filters. Now, people keep saying, Devin, make an exclude filter. I want to exclude this game and only see other games. The problem is it's really hard to make an exclude filter that will only really be used for one game. Nobody's going to go and like, I want to see all games except Blades in the Dark. Right? Everyone's like, I don't want to see Pathfinder and D&D. Those are the only two games that are so common that people want to exclude so they can see other things. So that's why we don't want to make an entire exclude filter that just excludes one or two games because the other games, no one's going to be excluding those. And people that are, it's like it's minutia at that point, right? It's very nitpicky, and the average user isn't going to be doing that. Let's see. We got some questions. Um, uh, Does this mean you can see what kind of adventure you are playing? Question, speaking of growth, is the cash value of money expected to be earned this year by SPG? You made it more than last year? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, it's, because it's also like the size of GMs grows, right? But, we think probably the next year we'll see the amount of GMs on the platform grow by, 5x, along with the player growth to support that. Sweet D's RPGs. Starset has been fantastic overall. I've gotten to play with a lot of brand new players and teach them 10 out of 10. Definitely recommend. Let's go. Can we get an over 30 filter? Odd Squirrel. So really, we're probably gonna come up with about like maybe 50 filter ideas, and we're gonna A/B test them and see which ones do the best. So we might even do price filter, but if we do, we're gonna have multiple price filters. It might not be. It might be things like premium games, like something that's like high end. Question: what program do you use to make your mock-ups? Just curious. Dreams. This is Figma, and this is a little mock-up that that Nick made. Philomania. Yeah, I want to exclude one of those two games. Yeah, it's so funny because it's so funny because I get it. Like, it makes sense to have an exclude filter when you just think about filters generally. But the problem is there are two games that take up the most amount of space in search that people want to not see. And no one is really thinking to myself, I don't want to see Monster of the Week games. Mike, D20 question. A player mentioned wanting to follow GMs so they can see all my posted games more easily. Is there something like that in the works? Mike D20, that already exists. We launched that 4 months ago. Mike, you go tell your player right now that it's live. They can check it out. You can follow. Let's go. Let's check it out. Let's find this. Boom. We go here. We got Carson. Boom. Follow right there. Now we're following them, and what you can do is you follow, then you go to find games, more filters, and you could favorite game masters, hit apply, and I can see games just by my favorite game masters. Okay. Adam Wemp, has there been any discussion about doing starter set programs for other titles? Adam Wemp, yes, I thought I kind of mentioned that earlier today too, but it's something we're going to start offering if publishers have these, if publishers can support it and are willing to do the work to leverage it, then we will create starter sets for other titles, and that might be like something like, hey, we might have a starter set for Daggerheart, which would be really cool. So yeah, you should expect to see starter set. I mean, starter sets could be, could revolutionize other games. I'm excited about it. We're also doing a bunch of A/B testing on starter set right now. Oh my gosh, team, we're doing so many A/B testing on starter set. Okay, so let's see. So the starter set A/B test right now is instead of landing on the Learn to Play page, which is this page. One of the A/B tests is you just start here on experience. So you don't even start on the landing page. Another one of the tests we're doing is you actually you start here on the selected time page. You just start right here. Another one gets rid of asking if you have a laptop, desktop, and microphone, and it also it just starts here. It just starts with, would you like to bring some friends? Another one removes this. You start here on how much experience you have. It removes the equipment, and it starts with how many friends you want to bring, and then it just goes to when do you want to play. So we're doing a lot of A/B testing to see. And one of the reasons why is we realize 80% of people who hit the landing page do not enter the experience. But the people who enter the experience have a pretty good conversion rate. And around 20% people who enter the experience end up navigating away to search because they have more experience than necessary. So we're wondering, is that the people that are navigating, maybe they're tailors, maybe they don't need a beginner-friendly game. So we're going to try this out and see how that works. Let's see. Question: how can we add more players to games running? Filter for running games, LF more players, seat filler program for paying players, maybe a reduced rate at event gets closer. Any ideas? How can we add more players to games running? Adam Henbach, what is A/B testing? Oh, great question. A/B testing is where we use code and a program. In this case, we're using Growthbook to change the experience for a certain subset of users. So if we have 5 tests running, right, and a control, so there's 6 versions of starter set that someone can get. Growthbook will segment those users into the different experiences, and so we'll write code for those different experiences. So you'll have 100 people go to the site, and then well, let's say 120 people go to the site, and 20 will have one experience, 20 will have a different experience, and 20 will have a different experience. They'll have different experiences, and then our software, Growthbook, will go ahead and keep track of, like, hey, this experience had this many signups, this experience had this many conversions, and then we can see, okay, which of the experiments is doing the best, and which of these, which of the A/B test mans, like A or B, which one does better. But in this case, it's A, B, C, D, E, F. And which of the experience is doing better. And then the one that does better will go ahead and try to optimize the landing page for that. Yes. So Dreams, if you come here, and you say, hey, do you have a laptop, desktop, or computer? And you say, no, you only have a phone. Then it says, hey, why don't you check out here? These games might work better for you because if you only have a phone. And this takes you to play-by-post games and text-based games. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's one of the play-by-post. It's going to be one of the options here. Play-by-post. Let's see. Okay. A story of a leaf. Question. Sorry, I missed it all. Will there be an increase in percentage taken from GMs in the next few years? If so, will there be any way to increase the price of existing players to offset this? Story of leaf. The only increase that we see coming is just the 5% that we already announced back in August, which will be in January. And you might have missed it. You might have gotten here a little later, but we did talk about it. Players don't see it as a problem to leave a game and rejoin when a price is increased. That's why we did not decide to build out a tool for increasing a price and having a player confirm or deny. As we started building through, we realized like the step of leave a game, rejoin a game is way more efficient than what we could have built. But we don't see like having to increase any of the fees on the GMs after we raise them to the 15%. That should be it. And if not, like we're doing something wrong. But the 15% that we're taking on the GM side should make the company incredibly sustainable because we want to be here for the long term. Like I said, I want 1 million GMs to be using Start Playing and being pro GMs. In an 80 million person like that, there's 80 million people right in tabletop right now, and I want 1 million GMs. That'd be awesome. Nina, let me translate the site to Spanish. Adam, question regarding adding players. Questions. Games with 2 players are mixed in with games with 0 players. I'm just trying to figure out how to stand out with those have players but not full. Games with 2 players are mixed in with games with 0 players. Well, madam, if you have 2 players in your game, you're already like standing out. Those are games with players in them are always going to get more bookings than players with 0 people in them. That's the hardest part, is getting that first booking. Once you have that booking, it starts to ramp up. JN, right now, when we click payout, we get the full amount. Is it possible to implement that we choose the amount we get paid out, or at least have a few choices? Not right now. That's a limitation on our Stripe end. If we upgraded to the highest tier that Stripe has, we could do that. But that's just as a higher level of fees. And so we've kind of avoided doing that. If we, at some point, we're going to have to do that because we'll get so big. But I'm hoping to kind of delay that as long as possible. But something like that, and also being able to like take your cash earned and then turn that into site credit, is also some stuff that Stripe offers. But again, like it just the fees on that are just too high for us right now, and so we're gonna like push that off as long as possible. Um, yeah, you automatically get added to GM Loot if you run paid games. If we have a tool that can help GMs immensely, but it's not yet in beta, and we want to get them and start playing, talking sooner rather than later, what would you suggest? But it's not yet in beta. They could probably reach out to me, and I'll kind of assess it. There's there are some things that we kind of look for in tools to make sure that they follow, that we think that would be helpful and that we'd be willing to put our name behind it. But like GM Loot's like a really small program. But that was probably the most. That's exactly what GM Loot is for. Is stuff like that where it's like I have a software, I have a resource, and I want to give it to GMs to make their lives better. Let's see. Sarian, any ideas of finding players for something a little more niche, like Pathfinder 1E? I want to take it full time, but I can't without a big influx of players. Sarian 119. That's one of the reasons why we started these landing pages. Because there are people searching and coming to these. And so what I would suggest is make sure you put in your review of Pathfinder 1E on these landing pages, the system reviews. Leave a review right here. So when people come to this page, once there's 20 reviews, all the reviews will be live. But posting a review here so people can see it and they can know like, oh, cool. This person has a once it's there, the review will show up, and then when people come to the page, they can read your review as a pro DM, see how many games you've run, and then they can click into it and head to your profile. Okay. Let's see. Yes, I found it helpful to go ahead and set it to active. That schedule must be something to this. Some of my players seem to be being charged different amounts for the same game. How are player charges calculated? So Daz MC, we did one thing where like a few months ago, we wondered if the Stripe fees that we charge players, if that was preventing people from booking and like that affected our conversion rate. So we did a test where we reduced some of our Stripe fees, by tens, and to see if that affected signups, and it didn't. But that could be a reason why you might see like a 25-30 cent difference between some player charges. They could just be left over from a test where some people were paying a lower amount. Let's see. I do dig the landing pages. Thank you, Eric. Oh, good to see you. GM George, question: will you keep working with Stripe? I remember a while ago you mentioned different option. Yeah, so I mean, it's mostly we work with Stripe because they're the only people that have the solutions we need. Hold on, I'm late for my next meeting. Captain, I'm running 15 minutes late. Okay. It's mostly because they're the only player who has everything we need. We've looked at if we split it out into several different companies for all the different solutions we need, we'd be paying more. So right now it's just we're looking for the right opportunity. Arc Anij Quest, have you thought about asking our players to leave reviews even in the middle of a campaign? I mean, right now every time a player plays in a game, they get a prompt to leave a review. So we're always asking them at the beginning and at the end and in the middle. Yeah. Oh, also, if tell all your players to go and review the games, y'all. Like everyone, like go review all of the different. If you run Vampire, have all your players review it. They can talk about you. The more reviews we get in these, the faster we get them up, and the faster we'll also see the pages get ranked higher because of the reviews. All right. Okay. Can we have a monthly subscription option for players? Daz, Daz is asking about a monthly subscription, and we kind of thought that might be the thing too. And originally, when we were starting out, we had tested that, and players overwhelmingly no, they don't want to sign up for a subscription, and that's also why we've seen a lot of players and GMs leave Patreon as a system. A lot of GMs would have like a closed community where they're like, hey, if you join my Patreon, you get all the games a month. But if a player was going to miss a few games, the GM would have to keep track of the games they missed and then like maybe discount their next month on Patreon. So essentially, the subscription caused attrition for GMs because if people couldn't make a game, they didn't want to sign up for $80 a month for games, right? Players want to sign up for $20 a week. It's a lot easier to swallow. So the reason why we haven't launched a subscription is because we've noticed that players they won't convert towards it. Now there's always going to be some group of people that convert, but you don't have enough to actually fit the product or for the product to fit the market or product market fit, so to say. Odd school question. Devin, I'll be honest, getting players to leave me a review can be like pulling teeth. I'm not sure they leave one for a system itself without some motivation. Oh yeah, we think that mostly players won't leave reviews for systems. We know mostly GMs will, mainly because GMs are going to get in front of new players by leaving reviews. And that's one of the reasons why we made it, is like we know that there's niche systems that GMs want to get players in front of, and there's players that want to get in those games. And so making it easy so that GMs can write those reviews and players can see that, we think will lead towards bookings. Okay. Team, I think we did it. System reviews show which GMs you played the game with. Clarissa, no, they do not. The system reviews only show how many times you've played in that game. Accessible to review currently. Yes, Talkify, if you go to the homepage and you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see a bunch of different games. Right here. All these games, if you click this, you can go to the landing page and you can review any of these games. And we'll be adding more every week. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, should we call it? Team, I hope you all have a fantastic holiday. I know I will, because it'll be quiet. There'll be Chinese food. I'm really, really excited. Deadlands and Savage Worlds. Savage Worlds is definitely somewhere in the top 20, I think. So there'll definitely be a landing page for one of those. Team, thank you so much. I hope you all have a fantastic holiday season. I will see you all on Discord. I'll be around, but I'll see you at the next office hours in the new year. Happy holidays, team. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thousand years you've been reigning terror, stoking our fears from deep in your lair. We're here to tell you that your time has come. This is our kingdom today.
Who are the fools who would dare threaten me?
Dragon come forth.